Hello, welcome to Tea with the Druid 281. This is Philip Carr-Gomm, and Tea with the Druid is brought to you by the Order of Bards, Oviates and Druids. It's lovely to be with you here, and I can see everybody arriving into the forest clearing from the darkest Crouch End to Mexico to Arizona, Santiago de Chile, Reykjavik in Iceland, Germany, and Delaware, and the Southern Gulf Islands. I don't even know where they are. Leiden in the Netherlands, Wing in Australia, Overton in Hampshire, and all sorts of places. Soggy Somerset in Switzerland, and County Clare and the California foothills, and the Norfolk Island, Australia. Wow. Gosh. Okay, lovely to see you. Well, do gather round by the magic of the internet that allows us from all corners of the earth to come and be together in this forest clearing. And as everybody settles, I'll just chat a little bit about how we're just coming out of Samhain, although we're still in the spirit of Samhain, aren't we? So the sort of 3 days that traditionally come out of time from the 31st of October to the 2nd of November are past, and many of you, I guess, will have done a Samhain ceremony. I've just got back, Stephanie and I have just got back from France, where we did a big Samhain ceremony in Burgundy. There are about 100 druids there, and we actually sort of stepped into the spirit of Samhain for 3 days and 3 nights, and we had a huge ceremony. It went on for 2.5 hours. My God, it was a long ceremony, but it was really wonderful. The next day we had my Steadfod, and there was a group from Belgium who did a skit, and the skit was mother and father and daughter. And the mother and father had swapped genders, so the mother had a beard and had a little cloth around her head, and the father was the lady from Belgium. And their daughter said, "I'm afraid I've got something to tell you. You're not going to like this." And they said, "Oh God, what is it? Are you gay?" She said, "No." "Are you transitioning?" "No." Are you taking cocaine?" "No." "Are you an alcoholic?" "No." They said, "Well, what is it then? You're not going to like this. You're really not going to like it." "I want to become a druid." And so they all started screaming, "Oh no, this is terrible." And then when they'd calmed down, they said, "Well, at least I hope you're going to join the Gorseth." For those of you who don't know, the Gorseth is the old traditional style of druidry. And she said, "No, I'm going to join Obod." And they went, "Oh no, at least you could have joined the Gorseth. Now you're going to be involved in a group that does the longest ceremonies in the world." And so that was their skit. We had jazz, we had all sorts of wonderful stuff. But now I'm back, and it's my great pleasure to bring a guest in. But first of all, just before I do that, let's just check in with how we're all doing. Lots happening in the world, lots happening in our own lives, and Samhain is such an interesting time of sort of completions and beginnings and changes. So just take a few moments just to tune in and just see how you're feeling. What's going on inside, and just see if 1 or 2 words bubble up that articulate how you're feeling now. On the understanding, of course, that in 5 minutes you might be feeling something different, but just how you're feeling in this at this exact moment. Loving the darkness, pensive, looking forward to tonight's talk. Happy, finished a long work, settling into the autumn. Good here, busy there. Finding my footing, a little overwhelmed. Wonderful, optimistic, excited to be heading to my first Obod assembly. So glad to be here. Blocked but recovering. Resting in my hammock at peace for the first time in months. Feel in body cozy. A wee bit, oh gosh, I'm sorry, it's going so fast I don't have time to read it. Healing. Feeling sad regards the deaths and the state of our world. Yes, I'm feeling grateful, unsettled a bit by the news, but otherwise good. Relaxed after deep tissue massage. Apprehensive about the future. Thankful for many things. Resting. Content, a bit overwhelmed, but excited. Depressed. My dog and best friend of 15 years died last Thursday. I'm sorry to hear that. Shaky. Isolated with the endless pandemic, feeling hopeful at last, hopeful and happy, feeling resistance, chaotic, extremely settled. This is my time of year. Enjoying the autumn colours and light, frustrated, struggling, calm, tired, happy spending time with grandbabies, grieving and processing the future without my friend, an edge, trying to go with the flow, rested, working on avoiding knee-jerk fears, returning to feeling grounded, feeling relief and nourished, tired. Okay, thank you. So now and how am I feeling? I had a massage today as well, a deep tissue massage in town, and so I actually feel physically really good and sad at the state of the world, content within my being. I think that's how I describe it. So now I've been wanting to talk to Isla for some time, and now I've managed to track her down, and here she is. Isla MacLeod. Here you are, Isla. Hello.
Hello, Philip. Good evening.
How nice to see. Lovely to see you here. Isla's book has been in the Obod bookstore for a long time, and it's a wonderful book. And have you got a copy there, Isla?
I do. Here we are.
I couldn't find my copy today. All good books get pinched from our house. I mean, it's a good book, it's going to get pinched. So I couldn't find it. Rituals for Life, and it's got a nice long subtitle which goes. What is the subtitle?
Oh, sorry, A Guide to Creating Meaningful Rituals Inspired by Nature.
Inspired by Nature. So you can see it's absolutely up our street, and up. I'm sure lots of viewers' streets as well, because we're here because we love nature and inspired by nature, and also a lot of us love ritual too. So I wanted to ask you, how did you get into this? Why did this topic appeal to you, and why did you write the book?
Well, I'd had a really interesting upbringing in some very different cultures, primarily in Lagos, Nigeria, and Tokyo, Japan.
Wow.
And I think both of those experiences really informed my sense of, possibility about ritual in everyday life, and that there was a really significant piece missing in our culture around just daily honoring of our ancestors, for instance, or just connecting to the nature spirits. But then, as my years went on and adolescence came, I sort of lost my way, and it was really through that sense of desperation and loneliness that I felt in the modern world, without elders really to guide a sense of how to connect with the spirit world and how to find my way in relating with nature. So I took myself to the woods for a couple of years and lived in a yurt, and saw that as a time of apprenticing to nature. And a large part of that was wanting to sort of rewire my understanding of this sort of linear sense of time. So I found the Wheel of the Year, the 8 festivals, a really helpful map to start to have these touch points throughout the year to understand more about how I related with the seasons, both outside but also internally, and honoring the lunar cycle. So those two pieces, and then working very devotedly with the trees, inspired just a way of me spontaneously exploring how to craft a ritual that would give thanks, or how to really anchor my intentions at certain times of year. And so it was quite playful and exploratory, and I just found that through that experience that I was able to find my way as a bridge between worlds, and that I found it very natural for me to be able to communicate with particularly the tree spirits, but also the ancestors, and then it's now evolved into all manner of other more than human kin. And it, for me, really was the way of healing my sense of separation within myself and with the natural world, and that's ongoing. And I've just found it to be such an effective and creative tool for carving out a path that is uniquely my own, and that's really resonant and aligned and relevant for this time, this place, this land. And so it's ongoing, really, this journey, and I'm just very glad to have found my way here.
Isn't that's lovely, isn't it? Because as you say, it's ongoing. It's this sort of work. It's not like a sort of academic degree or
Mm,
something that has an end point. It's just, I mean, you work with the seasonal wheel for decades and decades, and it keeps on. For me, that's my experience. It just keeps on revealing more and more depth
yeah.
and resonances, as you say. Where did you go to live in the year? What part of the world?
I was in West Sussex in a little
Oh,
place called Lickfold, not far from Petworth, Midhurst way.
oh, lovely,
Yeah,
beautiful countryside round there.
yeah,
Yes,
it
yes.
was.
I know Kingley Vale very well. The yew forest there.
Yes.
So yes, how lovely. Yes, how fantastic. And
Mm.
and as you say, I think no, I'm not going to go into my experience because I want to talk about yours. So, did you have a good Samhain, by the way? What did you
I
do for
did, thank
Samhain?
you, Philip. I was up in the wilds of Scotland, taking
Yeah.
part in a pilgrimage and a ritual that is possibly one of our oldest, and in Europe, but certainly in Britain, ritual that has been unbroken for generations, hundreds, if not thousands of years. And when I first heard about this ritual, it was like my bones just shook in some way of knowing and remembering. And I met the guardians of this ritual, and they invited me to take part this year
Mm,
in Glen Lyon, which is the valley honouring the god Lu. But there's
mm,
actually a valley within that which honours the kayak. And they have these beautiful sheilings, which are these sort of stone homes, where they have these stones that represent the kayak and the bodak, her beloved, and their children. And at Beltane, people go and they take the stones out of their sheiling onto the land, and then at Samhain, they're placed back in there for the winter dreaming. And we put lots of food like oat cakes and whiskey and all kinds of things for them to be well fed throughout the winter months. It was beautiful. And then we
oh,
finished with a great ancestral feast. So we all bought dishes that our ancestors either gifted us the recipes of or that we knew that they liked,
mm,
and had a jolly good hoedown, as it were, and some sharing of stories. It's a really
oh,
beautiful way to be together. Mm.
fantastic. Oh, that's lovely. That's lovely. And so fantastic, Samhain. And then you're back in, and you live in Somerset now, don't you?
I do, yeah, in Bruton,
Yeah,
near the River
yeah,
Bree.
yeah. So near Glastonbury. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
Bruton. Mm.
And are you do you have a sense of what's next since we've come to the end of the cycle? Is there any, do you have a sense? Are you working on another book, another project?
Mm.
Is it fair for me to ask that?
Yes,
Maybe,
of course.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
It is interesting because I wrote that book, the majority of it during the pandemic and time of
Ah,
lockdown, and it has been hard to sort of find space within my everyday work as a
mm,
ceremonialist
mm,
to dedicate to writing. But I definitely have a real longing to write another book. But
mm,
I am this winter going to be creating an online course, which is based around the book to some extent, but to support people with their own ritual practice and being able to hold ceremony for others, and also really just inspiring more of a animate way of relating and being in the world. So that's what my
mm.
winter will be devoted to.
Lovely. Oh, that's fantastic. What's lovely about online courses, I think, is that they're having written books for years and then starting to make online courses as well over the last sort of 3 years, I suppose. Um, is that it's like sort of writing in it's the wrong analogy really, but writing in 3D. I mean, so
Mm,
instead of just writing with the online course, you have the ability to interact with people. So it's much
mm,
more relational and you can change it and there's visual elements and musical elements or
yeah.
oral elements as well in it.
Mm,
So that's fantastic. Oh, well, good luck with that. And you mentioned you're a ceremonialist because you do celebrancy, I guess.
mm.
Yeah.
Yes, hard to find the right term. I've landed
Mm,
on ceremonialist, as because I'm a creator of ceremonies. So I
mm,
support people with all manner of thresholds and transitions. Sometimes that might be just a one-to-one, maybe they're honoring a significant birthday or the ending of a relationship. Tomorrow I'm doing a house blessing and clearing.
mm,
But I also run workshops and retreats. And I think the umbrella really for everything that I offer is to find these pathways of belonging that help us remember the ways that we are interconnected with the natural world, that we are an embodiment of nature. And for me, crafting is a really key piece to that, as is pilgrimage and ceremony. And I'm increasingly interested in embodiment practices, a lot around voice, and sort of trance states and entering into those sort of states in ceremony. So it's a very rich and varied job.
Yes, yes, yes. A fantastic job. Isn't it wonderful that one can have such a job in these days? Yes. And it's a very interesting, in our work in the Order of Bards, Ovates and Druids, because we have, have training and online training and all sorts of things, and we have, we have rituals that we've inherited from the past that we've adapted and changed, and there's this delicate sort of balance between, what to retain and what to let go of, and how to change it, and so on, and the way in which it feels so important. On the one hand, I don't know whether an appropriate analogy really is sort of learning any skill, really, is that you need some guidelines and you need some sort of sense of structures. How do I open a ceremony? How do I close a ceremony? What do I do in the middle? And why am I doing this? And so you need certain structure, and then well, I suppose maybe riding a bicycle is even better analogy. At some moment when the training wheels come off, and where you can just allow it to flow and be in the presence and have a sense of sort of living connection to nature and the moment of the year, and so on. And then when you're dealing with large numbers of people, I mean, rather like this ceremony that I was in, that had 100 people in it, that presents a really interesting challenge in terms of sort of timekeeping and choreography. What sort of size ceremonies do you tend to get involved in? Are they one-on-ones, or are they larger, or?
No, I do offer. So the last few Samhains, I've held a retreat called Rooted, and we have 20 people that come for that, and we do a beautiful ancestral ceremony that honours both our grief and our praise. My book launch last autumn equinox was 150 people, and I think that was the biggest, other than weddings, that I've held. And it is beautiful. I mean, having that variety and constellation of people, and we had, four-legged, lots of dogs running around, lots of children, and there were elders, and it felt like the village, how it would have been, that the ceremony would have been just part of the village life, and everyone was welcome, and it would be a bit chaotic, and you'd have, as you say, the kind of punctuation marks that you need to kind of get to, and in between that, anything goes when we're co-creating with the spirit world. And I think that's the piece, just to stay really open and curious and listening, because I might have a plan, but actually in the moment it feels like something very different needs to emerge. So just trusting in that as well feels really important with bigger groups. Yes,
absolutely. And I think the benefits, I mean, I have a particular interest in mental health and psychology, and the mental health benefits of the practice of sort of seasonal ceremony is so important, isn't it? You were talking about coming from cultures, like in Nigeria and in Japan, wasn't it? Where there are it's a very different kind of culture, and then you come to Britain, and I remember, when I was young, there was sort of 2 points in the year, really. What was there? I mean, there was Christmas,
and
then there'd be an Easter a bit, if you were, Easter, and then maybe the summer holiday. So just a few things, but otherwise, basically, life's just a straight line. And then to have this lovely every 6 weeks or so tuning into nature, it just seems so helpful to people.
I think it does really rewire the brain. I think, as you said, that each year passes, I feel more deeply resonant with the phase of the year that we are in, and it sort of it takes me deeper into what the energy of that season is, and by honoring it with ritual or ceremony, I think is really important to help us pause and take stock and understand what the next phase is about. And particularly this time of year, I think going into the darker phase, it can bring up a lot for people. It's often quite a challenging time. So being able to sort of resource ourselves going into that, I think, is really important, particularly with everything that's happening in the world at this time. And I think I mentioned that earlier when we had a conversation, that I visited a yew tree called Fortingall when I was in Scotland, which is potentially the oldest yew tree of these lands. And when I was with that being, and just really wanting to be receptive to whatever it might be able to sort of share with me about this time that we're in. I just felt that the roots, the deep roots, and that well of wisdom that is available to us that we can tap into, particularly when we're feeling overwhelmed and anxious, that we can come back to nature and resource ourselves by remembering that we are related and a part of this incredible web of life. So I know that sometimes I'm feeling a bit tired, or fizzy in the head, and I'll go for a walk and I'll just kind of invite all the beings around me just to kind of come and be with me and just support me, and in my way give back with a song or a prayer to say thank you. But it can really shift my state of mind just to something simple like that.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, that's lovely. And it's funny. Coincidentally, I was working on a book today about walks in Sussex, actually, that I'm doing with a fellow author, and was looking at the Fortingall Yew and seeing how some people say have in the past said it's up to 9,000 years old. They think it's probably more like 3,000, but still an incredibly long time, isn't it? That's wonderful. Well, since we're talking about the yew tree, would you like to lead us in a meditation? I feel like we could talk for hours, actually.
Yes, me too.
Yeah, we should do a lot. We should do a longer session sometime. But the sort of the context for these Tea with the Druids is they're not long; they're deliberately short. But let's do a longer chat later some other time. That'd be really lovely. But in the meanwhile, and I see there's some lovely comments coming through, and yes, I will put Isla's details up in the notes for these. I'll paste them in. And in fact, Isla, you gave me your website. Did you email it to me?
I think I WhatsApped it to you.
You WhatsApped it.
IslaMacLeod.com.
Oh yes, Isla MacLeod. That's really simple. It's just islasname.com. Yes. Yeah, that's
Although
all
I
you
will
need.
just say, I think on here, Philip, that the A is missing in MacLeod. So if they're looking for it, then it's MacLeod.
Ah, right. Okay, so it's misspelt in the. So it's LE.
It's MAC, so it's MacLeod.
Right. Okay, that's a mistyping in the Druid shop, in the Dobod store shop, because I took it from the shop. I'm sorry about that. Okay. MacLeod. Okay, so yes, Matthew Richardson has very kindly popped the link in there. Yeah, and I'll put it in the notes as well. Okay, well let's should we for those of you who are new to Tea with a Druid, what we do is we talk for about 20 minutes or so, and then we go into a meditation. And so over to you. I'll get out of the way if I know which button to press. I may press the wrong one. And actually, I don't think I know how to. Whoops! No, can I do it the other way around? No, I can't. I don't know how to do it. Sorry. I'll sit here and be quiet. And you talk.
Thank you, Philip. Wonderful. Well, I would love to take you on a journey to meet the you, the spirit of you at this time. So if you would like to close your eyes and just settle into your seat, and just allowing your body to find a comfortable and upright position. And as you turn your gaze inwards, just noticing what's present in your body. And just expanding the container of your awareness to really welcome and accommodate all that you're present with. Any sensations and feelings, they're all welcome. And with your breath, taking in a deeper inhalation, really filling up your chest around your heart. And as you exhale, just softening your body, just letting go of anything that doesn't need to be here for this next 10 minutes. And now turning on the imagination within your mind's eye. And seeing yourself walking into a grove of trees. These are ancient gnarled yew trees. And as you look around, meeting each of these beings, and you turn towards the center where you see the biggest of these yews, a majestic and mighty tree with branches that stretch up high and also downwards, drooping towards the ground. And as you marvel at this being, you notice the sound of water trickling nearby, that sweet song of water. And allowing your feet to guide you to where this water is bubbling up from deep within the earth. This spring that emerges here in this sacred grove of yew trees. And finding this pool of water and seeing beside it a vessel, a chalice or a bowl, and coming down towards the water on your knees, listening again to this sound of water emerging. How does that feel in your body? And placing your hands into this pool of water, feeling that coolness against your skin, and cupping your hands to gather some water between your palms, bringing that up to your face and washing over your face with these crystal clear waters. And if you would like, scooping again with your hands to gather water to put towards your lips and to drink from this vital life force. And feeling the sensations of the water in your mouth and as it travels down your throat, enlivening every cell of your body. And then with the chalice beside the water, scooping that into this pool, gathering within it this water. And as you hold this vessel in your hands, offering some words of praise or a song to the waters of this earth, of this life. And rising to your feet, holding this vessel of water in your hands. Walk towards this mighty yew that grows in the center of this grove, that is dripping with bright red berries. And as you pass under one of the branches and it tickles against the skin of your face, you pick one of these berries and placing it on your tongue, carefully sucking off the soft berry around the seed. And then using your fingers to carefully take the seed out of your mouth, holding that in your hand as you swallow this berry into your body. And with one hand with the seed and the other holding this vessel of water, walk in a spiral clockwise so that you can come closer to this you, one step at a time, spiraling closer to the trunk. And when you stand before this mighty trunk, looking upon its brown, red skin shedding in places, and turning to stand against this trunk, back to back, feeling this mighty presence behind you, above and below. And as you breathe, feeling this merging, this softening of your edges, as you feel the embrace of this grandmother you, this guardian of the mysteries of life and death and rebirth, the gatekeeper at this time of Samhain. And as you breathe, imagine that your breath travels out and up through the soles of your feet, so that as you breathe in, you're drawing in breath from the earth up through your feet into your legs, and then that circulates around your body. And as you exhale, that breath travels back down and out the soles of your feet into the earth. And becoming aware of the roots that grow deep and wide from this yew tree. And having a sense that these roots connect you with all of your kin throughout time, both those of your blood and your bone ancestors, but also all those more than human ancestors of rock and water and lichen. That through these deep roots you are able to remember all the ways that your soul has been carved and shaped from this life. That you are able to draw forth all the strength and resilience and wisdom of those who have come before you. And you are able to embody the power, the presence, and the beauty of nature within you. And with this bowl of water that you carry, as you carry life in your hands, I invite you to pour some of this water around the base of this yew tree, upon the roots, letting it flow down the trunk of this tree, feeding the roots, feeding your ancestors, giving thanks for this life and for all that came before you to enable you to be here now. Verito digera mundo. Verito digera comari. Sacred land, wild earth, this ground beneath our feet, this place where our roots meet. And in your other hand, you carry this seed of you. And as we cross this threshold of Samhain into the winter dreaming, this seed is yours to incubate, to nurture. What will you grow? What will you create with this precious seed? What transformation is afoot? What wants to emerge in you? Holding this seed to your heart as you give thanks to the spirit of you, and giving thanks to all those who have come before us and all those seeds of those yet to be born. We thank you. We remember you. We honor you. And carrying this seed with you and returning now in a spiral anti-clockwise away from this grandmother you, under the shade of her branches spiraling outwards. Hearing again that soft, sweet song of water. And looking around to see this grove of yews that are here always in your imagination. A place that you can return to and create worlds of possibility and hold counsel, receive wisdom. But for now, letting this image fade and coming back to your body, this temple of earth. Noticing your heartbeat. Feeling this pulse of water moving through your body, calling for you to remember. And taking in a nice deep breath as you invite yourself to be fully present back in your body, in the room you were in, with the land that you are with. And opening your eyes when you feel to, and just looking around where you are. Welcome back.
Thank you so much, Isla. That was just lovely, just beautiful. Really, really lovely. And having had such an experience, it's hard to find the words, isn't it? One just feels, I feel deeply connected and close to the earth. And it's worth saying that please be extremely careful. The seeds in the yew tree are very poisonous. And whilst you can eat in the physical world, you can eat the berries as long as you don't eat the seeds. They're very small and you have to do it so carefully. It's really better not to, the meditation is one history. If you can avoid it, I think, also the needles are toxic too. I mean, children can become really quite ill from it. And I mean, adults less so, but it is toxic as well. So do be very careful. Yes, so lovely comments coming in, and that's great to see. And Isla, what we'll do is we'll I'll put the links up on the notes and everything, and let's have another meeting. Hang on after we've closed the program so that you and I can chat afterwards. But for now, I'm going to say yes. The chant was what language was that in?
So that was in Proto-Celtic, which a wonderful woman called Carolyn Hillier has made this beautiful book called The Bone Bundle, where she's interpreted a lot of the work done at the University of Aberystwyth into sort of animating the language into sort of a more soulful way. And you can piece together the words a bit like a sort of string of berries, and it just does something. When I speak them, I can feel it on my tongue. There's something of it, activating very old memories, and it's a beautiful journey to start to sort of piece some of the sounds together of what our ancestors might have spoken.
How lovely! So that's Carolyn Hillier who makes music, doesn't she?
She does.
And yes, and did you say it's a book?
She's written a book called Her Bone Bundle, and it's like a very beautiful dictionary of words of Proto-Celtic.
Oh, lovely. Okay, we'll look out for that. Good. Okay. Well, look, thank you so much for being on Tea with a Druid this evening. And
pleasure. Thank you, Philip.
Okay. Thank you, everybody, for being here. And whether you're watching the recording or whether you're actually live with us here, thank you so much. Lots of love, many blessings. Have a wonderful week, and see you next week. And in the meanwhile, Isla and I will say goodbye to you, and see you again. Okay.
Good night. Thank you.
Bye. Thank you.